topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
To Triversity Talk. I'm Wendy Stewart here with you on Wednesday. It's Wendy on Wednesday. I know I say that every week. You must be sick of hearing it, but it's the truth. And you know, I'm looking at the top I have on in my background, and I'm just kind of like, whoa, this is like very psychedelic tonight. But it is all the rainbow colors, which is really important because this is Triversity Talk. So what's happening in Triversity this week? First of all, I hope many of you have signed up for our newsletter and have gotten it. It's got everything that's happening at Triversity. And we have an amazing writer and board member, Kit, who has a little column on there, and it's LGBTQ history. And tonight they talk about LGBTQ history with animals, interestingly enough. Sheep, which people knew about, chimps I didn't know about, and I've studied them. So there you go. We can all learn something every day. But Kit has an amazing background in so many things in LGBTQ history that you probably never even thought about, but he will definitely get you thinking. So tomorrow evening is Transgender Day of Awareness, and we are having a vigil at the United Methodist Church at 206 Ann Street in Milford. There are vigils going on all over the country tomorrow. I certainly encourage anybody, if they can, to please try attend, show your support. There is, of course, the reading of the names of people that have been transgender and have fallen to the violence of being transgender and are no longer on this earth anymore. So show your support if you can. And again, wherever you are, you can probably find a vigil for tomorrow night. It's amazing to me that this year there seem to be more than ever, and that's really quite incredible. Considering everything that's going on, it tells me there's many people aware, many people want to support the transgender community. And, you know, we all love hearing that. Getting back to Triversity, we have our men's group, Schmoozing with Triversity, and that is going to be after the vigil tomorrow night. That's at our center on Harford Street. And a reminder again, if you haven't already marked your calendar, that we are having our holiday party December 5th in Port Jervis, New York at Ma and Papa Joe's from 4 to 7. So please come. There will be raffles, empanadas that are amazing. Rosa, who owns this venue, makes incredible empanadas. We'll have other food as well. And we just want to see your sweet faces out there. So please come and support us. Thank you. So our guest tonight is a familiar face. First of all, you probably saw her face in the montage that I opened up the show with. Every time I see that, I'm like, oh, there she is. She is the author of a book, Just a Different Wrapping. She's been on this show before, but is actually the perfect guest to have on tonight. Our guest tonight speaks on various panels in the transgender community and also gives a lot of support to individuals in the community. I mean, again, I am so thrilled to have her on. She is going to be the speaker for Triversity's Transgender Day of Remembrance tomorrow evening. And please welcome Simone Kraus.
Hi, Wendy. Hello, everybody.
Hey, how are you?
Doing well, doing well. Getting over a cold. So if I cough or whatnot, and if my voice coach is watching, and I'm not exactly right on point with my voice tonight,
Well, no,
you can
no,
tell me tomorrow.
you. And didn't I have your voice coach on this show?
Oh, the one, yeah, there's another one that took over
Okay.
down at the college. Yeah.
Can we give a shout out to your voice coach?
Well, actually, I would give it out to William Patterson University and all the clinicians down there that so wonderfully accepted me into their program
Love
to
it.
teach me how to change my voice to a more feminine pattern. And it was literally life changing. So if anyone has the opportunity to take any classes, please do.
No, that's a wonderful opportunity. How did you? Now they're located in New Jersey, yes?
Yep. But there's a lot of different places. If you
Okay.
check with the colleges, a lot of times with the speech, the SLP program, they do offer stuff like that.
Well, that's a good share because I have a transgender male, and we were having this discussion. This person's become an amazing friend of mine, and he brought up the whole voice thing, and I said, I'm going to go to my go-to gal, Simone Kraus, because always has the answers, always knows the people. But yeah, this is something people are looking for. I'm just thinking though, like, because Jersey is a somewhat open state, or New York City is, where I'm broadcasting from, it's probably way easier. You think a lot of the colleges, Simone, offer that?
Well, I do know like William Patterson, I think Rutgers University has it. The thing too, with the current climate, with all the administration, that they're trying to shut down any programs in the colleges, kind of like turn the screws so that they would not offer stuff. So you would have to, contact them to see whether or not they do offer this.
Right. We think, Simone, that that's happening in the Northeast here. From what I'm hearing, we're not getting impacted by a lot of the stuff. I could be wrong because I live in my little LGBTQ community bubble here, but please share what you know.
All right. A lot of the healthcare professionals in the hospitals, healthcare systems have received letters from this administration about providing any gender affirming healthcare to trans youth, and that their program would be in danger, and any funding. These
are threats. Yeah.
Yeah. And there have been some programs that have shut down. There is a bill that they're trying to get through in New Jersey, S3491 and A4656.
I knew you would know those bills, Simone. You never disappoint me. Can you share with us what they are?
Basically, it protects a lot of the healthcare, but there's a little part in there that will codify gender affirming care in the state. It will also protect anybody who crosses state lines to get gender affirming care in the state, that the state they came from cannot kind of go after them, and it will protect the healthcare systems and the doctors.
Oh, that's
right. And right now, there is a lot of assembly people that have signed on, and we need like 3 more to kind of push this over where they could bring it to a vote.
Right.
I have not had my hands on this one as much, and there's some wonderful advocates that have been doing this on their own, like a private little group, and they have really, unbelievable the work that they did to get this far.
First of all, I hadn't even heard of this bill. So they just need 3 more votes on it.
3 more, then they could bring it up to a vote, and they would have enough people that signed on.
Okay.
Very, very simple to basically, stand up for this bill. You look up whoever your state senator is or your assembly person. You got a phone number. You can call them to not harass,
right,
give them a call, let them know your feelings.
Yeah.
A thing that I have found that worked for me for a bill that I got up on my own was writing a personal letter and give your personal viewpoint, not like, kind of like a form letter they put around, because the way you kind of talk about how this is affecting you, the person reading it might really just hit a soft spot. And at that point, then they push this further up the line, to bring it to the assembly person's attention that they should support this.
So, Simone, I've always admired you. You seem to know whatever bill is on the table at any given time. I'm embarrassed to admit I do not. And I would not even know the first thing, me who knows so much, I wouldn't know the first thing to get a bill passed, right? Can you kind of take us through like in baby steps? Because I know that this is really important to people.
All right. I brought up a bill the last lame duck session, and then this session of the legislature, to recognize all of November as Transgender Awareness Month.
All right. I remember you saying.
And I wrote probably 200 or 300 letters to every assembly person and every senator. And eventually some of them jumped on. I don't think because of the current climate that this would ever get put in. I personally believe that Transgender Awareness Week, which we have in New Jersey,
Right. And we're
accumulates with Transgender Day of Remembrance, they should have a month. And
Right.
having a month then would allow all the advocates and all the LGBT community to have 30 days to educate.
Right.
Because Breast Cancer Awareness Month years ago was only Breast Cancer Awareness Week.
I do remember.
And once they went from a week to a month, within 4 years, the amount of people that now started taking notice and learning about it,
right,
it just skyrocketed. So
I totally see your point because it gives you more time to get workshops and panels and speakers out there. A week hardly does it. And I'm sure there's places we can go to where people are completely unaware. And these places aren't even that rural. I'm sure I could go visit people in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and they're not thinking about Transgender Awareness Week even, or a Day of Remembrance even. So what you're talking about is really a media push to educate people and have it out there. The same way with breast cancer, right? The little pink ribbon. They had the little pink ribbon, and that became the branding for it. Yeah, I'm right on board with you with that. This bill, though, that you were just talking about, is very, very important.
Yes.
So Transgender Day of Remembrance within the Transgender Month is really great. But this bill that you're talking about that they passed would really be great because people from another state, there are all these states where they cannot get their gender affirming care. All right. And they're not even talking about, you can Google this. They're not even talking about the amount of people that are just losing it because this is like taking away medicine that's keeping somebody alive. It is what they're doing. And it's terrible. The fact that you could cross state lines and get what you need it would be really amazing.
It would codify gender affirming healthcare in the state of New Jersey, which you really need. I mean, if this administration somehow decided to basically outlaw it across the country, well, then it would give you a leg to stand on for them to try to fight it.
Right. Then we could at least go into the lawsuits and all of that, which, popping up all over the place because of the insanity of these attacks. So, when did you first get involved with Transgender Day of Remembrance?
The very first, I was there in 2016, but the one that my very first one was 2017. And the reason I remember that so vividly is that's November 20th, 5 weeks before October 17th, I had double knee replacement.
Oh!
And drove up so I could be part of this.
Right.
And
you came to Milford. I remember I was there for that one because I haven't been able to get there. They're always during the week, but I was there for that one.
Yeah. And I every year now I go up and I talk about it. The way that, I might run it one way, other organizations will run it another way. They might give all the horrible details or whatnot, or look at the bright side of what, a ceremony of life of what, the people that have lost their lives.
Celebrating their life.
Right. I mean, this Transgender Day of Remembrance was actually started by Gwendolyn Ann Smith. Now, Gwendolyn Ann Smith not only started that, but back in the 90s when you had AOL, had a place called the Gazebo. And it could hold up to 42 people, that could get into that one room because you didn't have the digital bandwidth and
No, but
space.
hold on, Simone. I didn't even know this. This is like, when you have Google breakout rooms. So AOL had something called, I love that they called it the Gazebo.
Yeah, it was called the Gazebo. And 48 people, could fit in there. And it was one of the earliest places that trans people could get together and, have affirm themselves with each other, find out different discussions
to share information.
And it was in that room later on down in 1999 that people were talking about. There was a person that was murdered, a trans person, before Rita Hessler.
Right.
And she was amazed. Gwendolyn was amazed that people that lived up there, 2 murders that happened like a year apart, and people didn't know either one really happened.
Right.
So that's when she decided to start this basically Transgender Day of Remembrance. And Remembering Our Dead is her website. And that first took place in 1999.
Wow.
And on the 1-year anniversary of, Rita Hessler's death. And it
just mushroomed from there.
And it's sad that we have to still have this the way that we do. I mean, we have 42 people this year. We had 200 and some odd around the world, that have lost their lives or taken their lives because of the politics and everything that is, just making it almost unbearable. I mean, you had Lisa Smith just recently up in Vermont, and I actually got something written for tomorrow night. And
please share.
And Lisa Smith, October 18th, Cornwall, Vermont, age 21. And this is a quote from Erin in the Morn about the suicide of Leah Smith. These policies carry blood on their hands. Transgender advocates have warned for years that the relentless criminalization and isolation of our community would lead to deaths. Leah deserved better than this government, better than these institutions. Every transgender suicide is not just a tragedy, it's a murder. It's the foreseeable consequence of policies designed to make us disappear. And I usually never talk about politics when this day comes up, but that so touched me.
Oh my God.
And the amount of the stories of other trans youth. And that's the thing that really blew me away, was the amount of trans youth that have taken their lives.
Right. The young people that take their own lives because it's so hopeless.
Yeah. And the policies are just, this government, once Trump came in, erased us.
Right.
The word transgender does not exist in the United States government anymore.
Well, one of the most absurd things they did, I've never seen such a targeted hate going onto websites and erasing the T. What the hell is wrong with them? Why on earth would that matter so much? Why go after that?
All right. You have a certain amount of the population that, okay. The governor's elections just happened in Virginia now. They did an exit poll asking everyone, people that were coming out about transgender rights. And it was over 52%, almost 55%. And now she won by a landslide down there that said trans rights have gone too far in this country. So that says to me that there's people that voted for her that think this, that they had gone too far. So the same percentage of people there, you will find in the LGB part of the community.
Right.
I mean, it's like one of those things that, if they're talking about, it's like looking around, like make sure that only those people are hearing it.
Right.
So, yeah, that's what they're going to do. They're so worried about losing everything that they will kick us to the curb thinking that will save them. But this is like,
but it's
that,
like
that poem, then they came, you might not be one or two, but you're down on that list. Then they came.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to come for you eventually too, and you're using transgender people as sacrificial lambs, thinking that you're going to be okay if you do that. You're not going to be in the eye of the storm. within our own community, it is sad what you just said, but it's true. I've heard things and talked to people where I had to really educate them as to what's going on, and still, transgender is Simone, you know this, a mystery to so many people, and I have to remember, I have to be an educator, right? So I have to be cool about it and explain and be able to explain it. But sometimes I just want to say, why can't you get it? Especially if you're LGBTQ. What is it that you don't get about a person being transgender? Why is the tea over here like on the ice floe going out to sea? You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's because everybody else is comfortable with the gender that they were assigned at birth. I mean, they there's no example that they really have
Right.
that they could really understand this.
Right.
So they view us differently. And I'll be honest, the amount of trans women and trans people that when we come to find, help and, the support group or whatnot at an LGBTQ center, how many of us stay around afterwards? We're like, it's like the people that sometimes that join the NRA, they're only doing it for 3 to 5 years. I want the card and after 3 to 5 years, I'm done. I'm out. Don't send me the backpack. Just forget I exist. I'm going to go live my life.
Don't send me the backpack. Right. I'm not interested. Okay. Now right. You just brought up something that no one talks about. And that really is the elephant in the room. If you're gay, you're gay. Right. And I mean, if you're an L, you're a G, you're a Q, you are that, right? Transgender is a whole other thing because I had to learn that. I didn't understand, like at Triversity, when back in the day when we first started with our transgender support groups, and you remember everything was very gung-ho, and I knew all these people, and I was talking to a friend of mine to come in and do makeup for people and all of that. And then I realized people just want to go stealth. They want to move on with their life, okay, and just live it. They don't want to be out there crusading and waving a flag. There are still always will be the people that do that, and a lot of them are my friends. But yeah, you just brought up a really good point.
But you know what it is years ago, you didn't have as many young people because you didn't have the laws, you didn't have the acceptance, you didn't have the parents that were accepting, you didn't have the LGBT. The groups in the high schools and whatnot, and people standing up for each other. So it's going to be really amazing to see how these kids, when they grow up, having had this support for so long, do they stay in with feeling that they belong to part of the whole LGBTQ community, or is it like the older trans people?
Just
once we do this, it's like,
yeah,
it's been nice.
Don't let the door hit you in the butt on the way out. I know a number of, it's interesting, female to male and young and unbelievably well-adjusted. And they will always mention that they're trans. But beyond that, like, what has that got to do with the price of eggs? And I love that. I'll tell you why I love that, because that's what I understand the struggle is real, and I will do anything, and especially what's going on now with the politics. But at the end of the day, every human being should just be allowed to live their life however the hell they want.
That's all we want to do. Live our lives. Leave us alone. Let me be. And there's studies that you can look at, and you look up transgender brains. I mean, our brain structure and our white and gray matter is a lot closer to the gender that we identify, not the gender that we were assigned at birth.
Right.
And there's a lot of studies that have done this. There's been autopsies they've done. Problem is it's at a very large study. And it's just genetics. It's just as simple as that. It's like
100.
One friend that was born that had a blue eye and a brown eye. It was just genetics. Not a big deal.
Right. And genetics determine chemistries in a person's body too, what their hormones are doing, why. Yeah, which is why, okay, and now we're going to get into the other elephant in the room, the whole thing with transgender people in sports and the insanity around that, and there is still no criteria to really measure. Like if you have a female who identifies female, but she's got a lot of testosterone, but she's not trans, she's going to end up being very strong. If you have a male, all right, that transitioned to female and has less testosterone, who is it fair to talk about then in terms of sports? You know what I'm saying?
You know
How do
what?
you, is there a measurement? Is anyone going out there? That's why this whole argument on it doesn't work.
This is the really sad thing.
Right.
This is going to hurt cisgender, assigned female women in sports more than it will hit trans people, because now they will be tested. Could you imagine having a 14-year-old daughter, tremendous basketball player, freshman year, played some JV, comes home sophomore year, they just did a blood test and won that, Mom, I have too much testosterone. They want me to take something to lower it.
That's what
I mean, do you want your 14-year-old daughter to be, having to go on hormones to lower it? That's what's going to happen. And traditionally, trans people are horrible at sports. And there's so few of us, honestly. And then the amount of trans people that play sports, let alone are good at it.
Right.
Oh, come on now.
I know, but with the media and the current administration, they will always single out that person that won an event that was male to female or female to male and was in the category that, they said they should not have been in. Do you understand? These people are being used as pawns. It's horrible.
You know what it is all of this really started back 2014 in North Carolina with the bathroom bill. And what happened is they found, oh my God, look at this. We have old white Democrats who are like, all upset, like, oh, I don't want that man going in the bathroom with my granddaughter. And they found that if we take the tiny little things that they're very few and exploit it and drill fear into people, and it worked. I mean,
it totally, okay, look at the state of affairs right now. It totally worked. It absolutely totally worked. And it's not only the fear thing. It's, I don't know how this happened. People have been vastly lied to. For me, it started with the 2 words, fake news. Once that got accepted, they got inside people's heads as if people became microchipped and would believe anything.
Okay. I think it was August or September. Primetime hours for fixed news on TV, 4 hours and 37 minutes out of that month during prime was devoted to anti-trans topics. Now, primetime is not a tremendously big time.
Right.
And to have that much time specifically going after us.
I know.
It's okay. You have the young boy that took a shot at the president out there in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Now they're coming up on Fox News saying, "Oh, well, he had a friend that was trans, that was out of their life, and now they're fabricating this kid."
Right.
And it's absurd. It's really absurd.
I know, but the thing is, you brought out a good point. Okay, if Transgender Day of Remembrance, if it were a month long, right, where you could bombard the airwaves, all right, have the news out there, do a whole media blitz, I think it could turn some of this around, because a lot of the damage, I feel a lot of the damage that's been done is, set everything back like 25, 30 years.
It would put this responsibility on the LGBT community and the trans community to educate. That's what it would do. It would allow us to have that.
I agree.
And look at now. Last year, May 31st, Transgender Day of Visibility. Always been May 31st.
Right.
Just so happened it fell on Easter. Their heads are still exploding about that.
Right.
And Easter, that changes around. So
I know.
It's we're an easy target. There's not a lot of people that will stand up for us. There's so few of us to stand up for ourselves. And we can be the big scary monster.
Well, all right. I want something you just said. There's so few of you to stand up for yourselves. Are there really so few at the end of the day? Let's go with a lot of the younger demographic. identify as trans. There's a
Mhm.
lot of people in New York that do, which makes me think there's more and more people at a younger age.
Over about 45, it's like 0.7%,
Yeah,
but the younger, it could be as much as over 2%. Yeah. But once again, Gen Z, there are so many of Gen Z. And
right.
if people don't realize, if you can remember how the boomers in the 60s kind of just swamped everything by the amount of them coming out to vote,
Yeah,
be aware. Gen Z is that generation that's coming
right,
up.
right.
So these are the people and these are the kids that are going to change the way things are going to happen.
So we
They're
have
going to
to
put the
have hope.
policy.
Right.
Oh, you have to have it. You can't, they're going to make laws against us. They're going to try to get some of the different bills, the executive orders, the two gender,
Oh, I'm so
the
damn
trans
sick
women in
of
sports.
executive orders, please. Every day, another executive order. It's like, give it a rest already.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But this is the stuff that they're going to continually go
Right.
after us. I mean,
Harass.
it's well, like that's exactly it. Gender affirming care. Oh, yeah. You can get Botox. You can have your nose job. You can have this. The 14-year-old boy who has gynecomastia can have top surgery. Whatnot. Oh, but you're trans. You can't have that. Oh, yeah. Puberty blockers. Yeah. If you have a girl that's in second grade, start to develop, or little Pedro and Sam that are over in the corner, one's already growing a mustache in the third grade, you give them the blockers. Oh, but if they're trans, you can't do that. Oh, that's right. They might cause, infertility down the road. Well, it's been a drug approved by the Food and Drug Administration since 1993. I think we would have heard about infertility already.
Right. Right.
And if you don't allow these kids through the medical science that is guided and endorsed by the many medical organizations, you're going to doom them. If you force them to go through a puberty that they don't identify with, there's a good chance they're going to take their life.
Yeah, I know. And I always give it up to you for statistics, but we know that happens a lot. And yeah, they have to be able to get them. Okay, but you brought up the beta blockers, right?
Puberty blockers.
A lot of people, the reason I don't think they get the support that they should is people don't understand what they do. They just hear that, a parent is giving a kid this to stop them from developing. Oh my God, how terrible. They don't think your example of little Pedro who's growing a mustache in third grade, or a female that's growing a mustache in junior high. That is just devastating to the kid. You never want those sex characteristics coming out. And again, you're talking about education. Those blockers, they've been studying them for a long time. As far as we know, can any of us predict that when that person that took the blockers turns 50, they're going to get cancer? I don't know. That I can't answer. But, there's so many people getting cancer from so many other things, right?
See, the only thing that they found as a side effect so far is that if somebody goes on them and then goes off, that they might actually, because then their puberty kicks in, they might end up being 1 inch taller than they would have if they didn't go on.
That's a good thing, Tall is good.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's just sad what they're doing in this country, that they're letting this dictate this when there's so much more out there.
Right.
And especially for the trans youth.
But you know what? That's why it's so important, Simone. And I wanted to have you back on. You're very articulate. You're not afraid to speak your mind. And I've had a number of people that you've recommended on this show. Same thing. I really believe that there is importance in that. And there needs to be more of that out there, where we have people that are educated, that can actually, talk about transgender A to Z and everything that's connected to it, because we need that.
You just need to always constantly remind your politicians that you do support this. And in the end, if they don't stand up for us, that might be the one thing that says, it's raining out. Yeah, he doesn't support us anyway. I'm just going to stay home.
Right.
I mean, if you look at it, if you take of the adult trans people in New Jersey, of that 0.7%, you're looking at 60 to 70,000 votes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of votes.
Mm-hmm.
So with the vigil tomorrow night, Simone, you read us a small piece. How many names will you read tomorrow night?
42.
42.
Sadly.
Wow.
Sadly, there's be 42, yes. And there's this one thing that I usually always read. It's called The Twilight People.
Yeah.
And remember Rabbi Frank?
Oh my God, yeah.
He wrote this one year. And he so touched me by writing this that I told him, I'm going to read this every year. And I have spread this around to everybody that I have ever met about why trans people were called the Twilight People. And do you mind if I give it a quick read?
No, I'm sitting here
Okay.
at needles waiting for you to read it.
Okay. Twilight People. According to the Kabbalah, our Jewish mystical tradition, gender fluidity in the scriptures was regarded as common. For example, Jacob's daughter Dinah was conceived with the soul of a man. Likewise, Abraham's son Isaac was ensouled as a woman, but born as a man. The first human being, Adam, was created androgynous, having characteristics of both man and woman. Our modern sages call such people twilight people. Why? We read in the Talmud, as to twilight, it is doubtful whether it is part day or part night, or whether all of it is day or all of it is night. Twilight is like the twinkling of an eye. As night enters and the day departs, it is impossible to determine its length. Shabbat 34, Barak 2. The transgender activist and first transgender rabbi, Reuben Zellman, writes, Twilight cannot be defined. It can only be sanctified and appreciated. Likewise, people can't always be defined. They can only be respected and their lives made holy. Twilight allows for genders beyond male and female. It opens space in society and protects those who live in the places in between.
Wow. That is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I will tell you along those lines, in different cultures, like the Twilight people, they believe in the two-spirit people, which means both male and female inhabit the person. This is in India. This is in Africa, in villages in Italy, and people that have been generations back in Hawaii. It's a totally known and accepted thing. So why are we even having conversations about this? Live and let live, right?
Religion.
Yeah, it's religion.
I mean, if you go back to the 1880s, and then when we were relocating the Indian tribes, not only the United States government, but the religious sector that was in trying to make them not savages, eliminated their third gender.
Right.
They forced them not to have that.
Right.
That
was an attack on their culture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The British did that to the Raj in India.
Absolutely.
The same thing. They've eradicated. I look at now what this government's trying to do with the laws and whatnot is the second great trans eradication in this country.
I totally agree with you.
I mean, the Mahu out in Hawaii that came from Polynesia. In fact, Captain Bligh from the Mutiny on the Bounty, he was doing a world, exploration with Captain Cook, was the first European to meet anybody that was considered that gender, or the Mahu of Hawaii.
Right. So we know this exists, and going forward, the way things are going, we can only hope that in the midterm elections, maybe people will become more enlightened. I'd like to think that. I'd like to always believe that someone like yourself, Simone, you're out there, and I know you're making a difference, and you speak about it. Every day I wish for 1,000 more Simones out there.
Mary might not want that, but
it might drive Mary crazy. But yeah, I mean, you can't let it rest, which is good. But again, the other side of the coin is, and you brought it up in the beginning of the show, there's a lot of people that want to just do their transition, get on with their life and not be Crusader Rabbit. But some of us are Crusader Rabbit. Some of us, it's just in us that we see this and we hear it, and you know, we have to fight back. We have to help it. You have helped so many people. You know, you as a resource, voice, looks, the whole 9 yards. You're always giving a name or supporting somebody. If there's people out there listening that are comfortable in their own skin, please share what makes you comfortable. Please share the people that give you the support. All right, turn around and pay it forward. That's what we have now. I think we can only start it as a small community and just continue to pay it forward till it becomes bigger.
I was so blessed. I had people that helped me along with my transition.
You did. I was there.
And that is why I continue doing this, because I don't want to see anybody young have to struggle, and to not least have someone be able to tell them, this is how I did it. Might not work for you. It's kind of like climbing Mount Everest. I've done it. Now I can tell you how to do it. You might not take the same route that I did, might take another one. Right. But we'll be there. We'll be the Sherpas to help you make it there.
Oh, I'm totally loving this analogy of it. Yeah, we'll be the Sherpas that will help you make it.
Yeah.
As far as you want to go with it.
That's exactly it. Every transition is different, where it's not like one defined thing. Everyone is different, whether hormones, no hormones, surgery, no surgery. Everyone is up to you till you get to that point when you look in the mirror and you go, oh, there she is.
Yeah.
And then you're comfortable. Then you start to live your life.
Yeah.
You know,
every human being should be entitled to live their life the way they want.
Exactly. And if you can get that, our brain structure or the gender that we identify, so that when we are in a changing room or whatnot, you should be pretty well comfortable, like that you're in there with another man or a woman, not, because that's the problem. These husbands are thinking with their brain. I don't have their brain. Right. My brain's almost like your wife's. You know?
Right. It's interesting because you're bringing up something that I experienced the other night. I was out with friends of mine that are completely comfortable in their own skin as who they are. And the issue of the bathroom came up, and they did share. One of the people shared with me that he was attacked in a bathroom in a concert. I'm like, but how did they know I use the word blend because I was corrected using the word pass by Wendy Cole, who's an amazing speaker as well. I hope you've connected with Wendy Cole. She's great. But my friend talked about this really awful experience going to it was a rock concert in Newark, and someone, like, I don't know, outing him in the bathroom. Why would you're at a concert. Why would that be on anybody's mind?
I had an experience. It was, I'm trying to think of the one movie, Mary Poppins, the second one that came out.
Yeah.
Okay. So me and Mary went. It was one of the first times that I kind of went as myself, went to see the movie. I have to use the bathroom. Long line. Mary's like, can't wait till we get home. I'm like, ain't happening.
Right.
In I go, and I get in. I take the end stall. It's like, I just want to in and out, get really quick. I get out, I'm washing my hands. The two people on my right here, the one person's saying, that's a man. And I'm thinking, oh, damn it.
God.
And then I realized they're trying to drag me into the conversation. And I kind of like look over, and she's saying that's a man. And I look down, and she's pointing down at a woman who had a John Deere hat at the end. And I said, who cares? As long as she washes her hands.
Right.
And I'm thinking, here, you're so worried about that woman down there with that, to a trans woman. He had no idea. At that point, I almost chuckled as I walked out saying, God, I wish I would have had like a Barry White voice at that moment.
Yeah, really? Amazing. Funny story. Simone, we're like getting down to the wire here. I want to remind everybody, Simone's book, Just a Different Wrapping. You can get it on Amazon. Really great book. I couldn't put it down. Highly personalized. I mean, Simone spared nothing. And courageous journey into this deeply personal narrative. Petra Simone Kraus shares her experience of coming out as a transgender woman at 56, directing through the complications of gender dysphoria while concealing the true self behind a male facade. And I do want to bring out here, Simone and a number of people I know, we talk about late stage transition, very different than, when you're in your 20s. And Simone's book is about how Simone started and where she ended. I mean, she was a pipe fitter in a very blue collar male dude environment. Now I want to get this in here. You're writing another book, you said.
Yes, I did. It's a fictional book, and it's a little dystopian. I'm taking the current climate of the politics now,
Yeah.
and it's that 12 trans leaders get swooped up in an operation, and they end up in Greenland because somebody we will remain nameless wants to have a gulag, kind of like his buddy does. But then it happens is that then people are trying to escape out of the country. It all happens over 13 days. 36 hours, it escaped from there, ends up in Copenhagen. It is just suspense from once it starts happening. It talks about the generational differences for the different groups with the trans people. One person who I call MAGA Light is actually now has a game because a family member is now trans. And so, yeah, it's and I'm shopping it around to literary agents. And then if I don't get any hits on that in January, I'm going to start looking at publishing houses.
Yeah.
And I'm writing my next one that's a follow-up to this.
Wow. So you have 2 books you're actually working on.
Well, yeah.
So I got to tell you, you're doing this at a great time, because what you mentioned about publishing houses, because you watch the show, I've had a lot of LGBTQ authors on that are writing novels. My God, my friend Jezebel is on her 6th novel, fiction, but incredible stories. And the characters are all part of the LGBTQ community. So, there's definitely a wanting out there, okay, to include in our reading, which normally should have been there anyway, LGBTQ characters. Why not? Because this is part of life.
Well, see, Robin Gigley, a friend of mine who has a really great series, is trans author, and her character is a lawyer who's trans, and she touches on all the points, the touch points for, trans people. So when I said they're part of this, she said, you should make a book out of it. So that's what I'm trying to do with this, is have it that I'm touching all the touch points of what we go through.
Yeah.
So that if someone reading this will also, read about that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you know what? You're making it normal. It's normalizing it. And that this whole discussion, and that's why I have these discussions, I just want to get this stuff normal,
Every day.
I don't want to be having these discussions 20 years from now.
Oh, God.
I don't even know if I'll be here 20 years from now, Simone, but I don't, you know what I'm saying? I hope as a society, we're in a totally different place. So before we say nighty-night, I want to remind people that Triversity will be having their transgender vigil at the Methodist Church, and it's gathering at 5:30. Vigil starts at 6, 206 Ann Street. Our amazing Simone Kraus, of course, will be speaking and reading the names. And please come if you're in the area. Remember, Triversity, Tri-State, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. So if you can make it, please absolutely come.
One thing, if I could throw in, I think it's next March 28th. I am involved with the second trans authors event that will probably be happening either in West Orange or in Montclair. Montclair Pride Center will be running it.
Oh, how fabulous.
It will get, yes. I will hook you up with the right people to talk to, and it should be a pretty big event.
Some of them, we'll feature them on the show. Definitely let me know. Yeah, because I've had on the executive director from the Montclair Pride Center.
I'll hook you up with all the right people.
Hook me up, Simone. Okay, I always like to take a picture before I go. If I can just figure out where I put my camera. There it is. Hi, Nugget. Nugget wants his dinner. All right, here we go. Cheese. Take a couple. Great. Simone, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being there tomorrow night. Thank you for being the soul that you are, you know?
Thank you.
And I'd like to see you in person soon, one of these days.
You will.
I hope so. Take care. Thank you. And good night, everybody. Bye-bye.